Hey everyone, Nam here, back to do my weekly NFL predictions. This time doing the week 3 segment for the 2022-23 NFL season. And just to recap, I did do a little better than the first week. I went 9-7 last week. A couple surprise games uh, in terms of dramatic happenings. Baltimore had a big lead, and then in the end, Miami comes back and scores 20, 30 some points in the fourth quarter to take that game. I had picked Baltimore. So if Baltimore had not choked, I would have been 10-6. I would have had double digit wins. And if Cleveland had not choked, I would have had so that would have been 11-5. But I'll just say those are two games that I should have probably gotten correct. I don't think really anyone saw Jacksonville will actually win in the way they did. If you did pick them, shutting out the Colts. Uh, and the Steelers, I had beaten New England, but the Patriots did enough to come away with the victory there. So overall in the season, I'm 15, 16-1. Let's get into Thursday night game, Pittsburgh versus Cleveland. I think Cleveland's going to try to get Chubb going. He had three rushing touchdowns last game. I think that's going to be definitely a big factor. It'll be interesting to see how Pittsburgh does with Brissett facing Jacoby Brissett as quarterback. I got to give Pittsburgh the nod here, but anytime these two teams play, it's always a dogfight. I'm going with the Steelers, but it's something I'm not really comfortable with. I'm just going with them just because of the defense reasons. They really got to get their quarterback situation figured out. I don't think Trubisky's it, but I think they might give him a couple more shots before they might put in Pickett. Buffalo, Miami. This might actually be my safe pick of the week. I'm taking the Bills here, just the way they dominated their first two games against the defending Super Bowl champions, and then the Titans like they did. You gotta like Josh Allen and the Steven Diggs duo there, and the defense is playing lights out as well. So you got to go with Buffalo. Cincinnati versus the Jets. I'm gonna say Joe Burrow's finally uh, gets going and wins in this one and gives the Bengals their first win of the season. I'm gonna say Flacco also gives a decent performance as well for the Jets. He did pretty well in their comeback win against the Browns. Raiders versus Titans. I'm actually gonna say the Titans win this one, despite heartbreaker in week one and then being blown out last night. This is pretty much it's a must win for them. So I'm going to go with the Titans. They have the talent there. They just need to execute. New Orleans versus Carolina. I'm going to say Carolina. They've also, last week, close when they lost against the Giants, and then week one, uh, they lost against the Browns. So I'm going to go with the Panthers there. Baltimore versus New England. I'm going to just take Baltimore simply because I think they are more the better team, more dynamic, and I think they will give New England everything that they can handle. Uh, or in New England's case that they won't be able to handle. So I'm going with the Ravens. Detroit versus Minnesota. I'll take the Vikings. They're at home. I think just Jefferson didn't have that big of a performance, so I'm going to say he uh, produces here once again. He's their big bright spot, I think, on that offense. Dalvin Cook didn't do too much either last night, but um, everyone has their bad games. Speaking of their game from last night, Philadelphia heading into Washington. Washington's always a tough team at home. I always say that, even if they are on the downside. I'm going to take Washington in this one for that reason. I expect it to be kind of high scoring, but I'm going to take the. Well, I shouldn't say Redskins. It's the Commanders. I'm sorry. Just my childhood keeps thinking it's the Redskins. The Commanders in this one, so I'm gonna go with them. Kansas City versus Indianapolis. I got to take Kansas City. Indianapolis does not look good at all against Jacksonville. I don't see Mahomes having any trouble with that against them. Houston versus Chicago. I'll take Chicago. They need to get their quarterback situation figured out because Justin Fields didn't do much except having that rushing touchdown put him ahead 7-3 against Green Bay. But after that, it was all Packers, and he didn't do anything. He didn't even have like 100 yards passing. David Montgomery, though, was a bright spot. He had over 120 rushing yards, so that might be key. But they're going to have to figure out. Like I said, with their quarterback situation. Jacksonville versus Chargers. This will be for the Chargers. Make sure they can get their game plan going the way they want. That'll be the status of Keenan Allen, but don't sleep on the Jaguars. Uh, Boy, I don't know who I want to go with here because of those situations. We'll take Jacksonville. Why not? I mean, I'm already off to a crazy start this year, so we'll go with the Jaguars. And why not have them go 3-0? The Rams versus Arizona. Uh, I'm gonna take Arizona here. I think this will be a game where Cooper Cup is cooled down just for a little bit. I think he'll be maintained by the Arizona defense. Green Bay versus Tampa Bay. I got to go with Tampa Bay. Their defense has done really well past couple weeks, especially last week. They had like 5 or 6 sacks, couple interceptions. One was a return for a touchdown, a couple fumbles. They just dominated New Orleans all over the field. Atlanta versus Seattle. I'm going to take Seattle in this one. They're at home, but I think it'll be close. Uh, kind of probably low scoring. Mm. San Francisco versus Denver. San Francisco has lost Trey Lance for the year, going back to Jimmy Garoppolo. Denver, you know, this one they got a win, but it was against I think a anemic Houston team. So we're gonna go with San Francisco. I think they still have the talent there, and if they can get Kittle back, that'll be a plus as well. We're gonna go with the 49ers. And then the Monday night game, we're going. It's Dallas and the Giants. I want to take the Giants here, but I got to go with Dallas. They still, I mean, they've got a great defense. I think they'll maintain Barkley and keep him in check and then put more pressure on Daniel Jones. So I got to go with the Cowboys here. The backup, I believe, was Rush for the Cowboys. Did pretty well and was still able to take them and get them in position to kick the game-winning field goal in overtime against the Bengals last week. And I think they'll also feed from that as well. So those are my picks for Week 3. Feel free to let me know if you agree or disagree. And with that said, as always, I'm Nam, and always use your noodle.